Do you want to... We're not going to talk about Secret Wars today.
Wait.
We're not going to.
We're not going to?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Do you want to?
I don't know. I just didn't hear you.
Oh, we'll do it tomorrow or something. I got to finish Kang Dynasty.
Okay.
It's so bad.
Sorry.
So stupid. Okay. I might cut this part out. But I'm like probably a third of the way through the Kang Dynasty.
Okay.
There's like a whole storyline with a cult called like the Triune Understanding or Try
and Understand.
Yeah, that's I get it now. Never mind. It's a great comic. And they're like Vision is pretending to want to get enlightened by this cult. Like I'm sure it ties in later, but like I'm like, what does this have to do with Kang? I don't get it. There's also a whole storyline with Hank Pym where Hank Pym as the Yellow Jacket gets injured. They're like, oh no, we have to save him. They take him to Jane Foster. There's another, and then when he's being like treated, this Hank Pym goes, hey, Janet Van Dyne, go feed the other Hank. She's like, what? And he's like, there's another Hank in a beehive. Or he has a little hideout, a shrunken down hideout he hid in a tree. It's like, go feed him.
Wait, why are there two Hanks?
I'm getting to that. Spoiler alert for this stupid thing. It's actually, the reasoning is pretty clever.
Okay.
But I'm like, what? So Janet has to fly down to a little tree or a big tree and find a little hideout.
Gotcha.
He's a name for it called like the Wasp or the Hornet hideout or some shit. Stupid. And he goes in there and he finds the other Hank, and the other Hank's like, Janet, I love you. We gotta protect you from the other Hank. And she's like, what? So she brings that new Hank, Hank 2, to Jane Foster, and they're like, what is happening? And then they go in and they get the cult leader from that thing I just mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Reese, do you remember?
Yeah.
And he decides to merge their minds, but he can't because they don't want to be merged, and there's a third factor. So Janet's like, I'm the third factor. So she goes in, and one of the Hanks is like, I'm the impulsive one. The other one's like, I'm the good one. Which one do you want, Janet? She's like, I don't want, fuck this. She's like, I'm not dealing with this. And so she leaves. Because what Hank apparently did, I don't remember exactly. Okay, so he repressed. You know how Hank Pym hit Janet at some point in the comics?
No.
Oh. At one point, Hank Pym, because the Pym particles mess with your brain.
Okay.
He just like slapped her. It was supposed to. They said that what they were trying to do was he was like throwing his hands up in exacerbation, and that he hit her by accident.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure the writer said, or the artist was like, it was hard to draw that, so we just had him hit her. I could be wrong about that. I think I heard that on a podcast.
Okay.
But so he did that. He created Ultron, all this stuff. So he had repressed all of that. And then at some point, there's a villain who awakened that and then created the second Hank from the excess mass that he would use to grow, because that's how the Pym particles work.
Okay.
This is going to be a whole separate video. So
yeah, apparently.
It's like two Hanks, question mark. It's like, you know how the Pym particles work where when you shrink down, it takes your mass and sends it to a different dimension.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
But when you grow, it takes the mass and then gives it to you. It's like Cyclops' stupid lasers.
Stupid lasers? I think they're very clever.
He doesn't shoot lasers. His eyes are portals to a dimension that's just lasers.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that extra mass that he would use to grow created a second Hank Pym. And so now it's just the two of them, this weird little mindscape. And they're like, now what? And they're like, I admire you. And the other one's like, I admire you.
Aww.
And they're like, wow. And then a third Hank comes down. Like, no, he grows. He's a little Ant-Man.
Oh, gross.
Also, Hank 1 is the Yellow Jacket. Hank 2 is Goliath. And
the big one?
The big one.
Okay.
Not Giant Man, but Goliath. Be when Hank Pym was Goliath.
Got you.
And so original Ant-Man grows from an ant size, doesn't say anything, and then they all hold hands.
Oh. Then
they all hold hands and they emerge into one Hank. And they're like, what the fuck?
Oh my god.
It's absurd. I don't understand what any of this has to do with the Kang Dynasty.
Yeah. What? Where's Kang Dynasty?
Oh, so Kang shows up on Earth and he's like, what's up, guys? I'm your new ruler. And the Avengers are like, no. And he's like, yeah. And so he's like, just so you know, I'm going to attack France in like 3 days. I'm going to start with France for some reason.
As you should. They'll give up the fastest.
And then he's like, then I'll do everything else. Then he just goes back to his spaceship, which is a giant sword.
Oh, that's awesome.
He's got like a son, the Silver Centurion, which would be like Henry Cavill would be a good Silver Centurion. But then he just kind of sits there, and I think he puts out a call. He's like, any villains out there who wants to join me, join me. So like the Deviants from Eternals, not the movie, the comics, who made an appearance in the movie.
Whoa.
They like rise up. They're like, I support Kang, and they start fighting the Avengers. For some reason, this is unrelated to Kang. I guess it's related because Kang shows the Avengers. He's like, look, I've looked at every single future of yours. They all end with disaster. One of them is green zombie radioactive men.
Nice.
Just so you know. and other ones are also bad. And they're like, that can't be true. And he's like, if I'm the leader, nothing bad will happen. Ever. I promise.
Definitely not.
So look at my kid. Look at this weird little... Have you seen his little pillow that he floats around in?
I might have, but I...
You know Mr. Mixes Pitalik?
Yeah.
From DC? You know, he just floats around kind of like laying back?
Yeah.
Kang does the exact same thing, but he's on this like little purple pillow.
Huh.
It's really...
Is he comfortable?
Really something. Probably. It looks like I would float around in that thing.
I mean, he's doing a dynasty. He needs comfort.
Yeah, he does. And so he's like, okay, I'm gonna go to my spaceship, and then it cuts to like Captain America, Thor. What's her name? Fire. There's an Avenger in this that I didn't know very much about before. I can't remember her name. No, it's a woman. It's not Firestorm.
Firestar?
Maybe.
Because I'm trying to think of the Marvel picture find from Sporkle.
Oh, good. I'm gonna
and
put a
that's
link
one
to
of the
that.
characters. Yeah. No, Firestorm is 100%
DC.
Yeah, DC.
Yeah. Anyway, they're all fighting in Russia, and then I don't remember what his name was. Some villain is like, I've got green people. And if they touch you, you'll become them. But it's immune to Thor. So Thor,
he's not a green person.
No.
He's already a green person.
He's already green on the inside.
Yeah.
All money oriented. All he cares about is making them dollar bills.
And plants.
And then this other person, she's like a religious, like God gave her powers. I think she says.
Does God exist? Or is she just that's what she believes?
I one of the two.
So is she a mutant? Because then that's kind of God giving you your powers.
Yeah, maybe. But no, I think she was like literally God came and was like, her name's Bonita Juarez. Look that up real quick.
Bonita.
That's her that's not her superhero name.
How do I spell that?
Bonita, like pretty in Spanish.
You
didn't take Spanish.
Bonita Juarez. I'm sure that is correct.
Juarez.
Oh. Well, instead, Bonita, California alcohol delivery in 1 hour came up.
Well, we'll order some. No, it doesn't matter. I'll put a picture of her. I apologize if this is your favorite character. I can't remember her name. It's like Fire something. But she's
Firebird?
Firebird. Yes. Her name's Firebird.
Is a former member of the Avengers.
How does she get her powers?
I don't know.
Say
I'm
from
really sure
God?
I'm looking at the Marvel database for
Perfect.
fandom.
I like this website, actually.
Cool. What do I...
It'll say abilities.
She's 5'5".
It's pretty short.
Not extremely.
Actually, it's taller. I think it's above average for a Firebird.
I cannot find abilities at all. No history. They were walking across the desert near Albuquerque, New Mexico, when a huge ball of cold fire plummeted out of the sky and struck the sand, like right next to her. And then she bathed in it and got powers. So it's pretty much just Vandal Savage, but
it literally is. Fire can't be cold, and it's not fire.
I mean, what if it's
blue?
Just really not hot fire.
Okay, well, in the comics, she says something like, because she is also immune to this green goo stuff. It's like a radioactive man situation.
Is it not Nickelodeon?
Yeah. It's like, she's also immune, and she's like, Thor, if God gave me these powers and I can't be changed, does that mean I'm immortal? Does that mean God is actually punishing me because I can't die? Because all of the pleasantries of heaven come after death. So if I can't ever achieve that, is this a punishment? And Thor's like, I don't know. He's like, they just killed Captain America because he gets touched by the green people.
Aw.
He gets sucked into green, or he becomes
Use
a green.
Your shield, bro.
He should have. What was he thinking?
Yeah.
He becomes a green person. And then Thor and Firebird become... Well, Thor becomes really existential. He's like, I got really mad when Captain America died because he saved him later on.
Okay.
And so Thor becomes like distraught and disconnected from the Avengers because he's realized how close he's gotten to all these people.
Yeah,
and as an immortal, it's hard to... You shouldn't form relationships with like people who will die.
Yeah.
So all the while, Kang's up there. And he's telling like stories to his son about how his son became his son, which is just normal. But he was like...
That's good.
Well, it's not normal. It's the act itself was pretty normal. This
okay.
Ugh.
Who's his wife?
I'm getting to that because Scarlet Centurion, was that his name?
Yes.
I said it earlier.
You did.
I feel like that's wrong. He's like, Dad, if you're gonna be the emperor, will that be if you're gonna be king of this dynasty, will my mom be queen? And Kang's like, shut up. Who cares about women? He says that like multiple times. Yes. And he's like, I picked your mom because I had a bunch of women. He was like celebrities, athletes, princesses, I think he says. They all got in a line and went through this machine that tells them how good their genes are. And so he picked the best one. There's like a panel where Kang's like sitting there all sexily with his helmet on. His forehead's huge.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
It's like Peyton Manning, baby.
Yeah, and then
Peyton Manning for Kang.
yeah, Peyton Kanging,
Yeah.
Kang and Manning.
Kang and Manning.
Anyway, the woman's like, Kang, I don't know, and he literally goes, he's like, shut up. It's like, come here. And then after he doesn't give birth, after he has a child,
Yeah.
he sends him back in time to live on his own with his mom, and then he checks in every fortnight on how he's doing
Interesting.
to watch how his training's coming along. And he's like, yeah, in a month of my time, you became an adult and you got really good at fighting. He's like, so forget about your mom, man.
That is weird. Because I feel like in Earth's Mightiest Heroes, I think he has a big thing where, I want to say it's his wife, I could be wrong, is like fading in and out of existence, and he's really worried about it.
Oh. There's a Kang storyline that is still coming out, I think.
Okay.
Where it's like Kang origins. But at one point, when he's first sent back in time, he's in like the Egyptian era. He's Ramatut.
Yeah, yeah.
And actually, no, before that.
Oh.
Even at the caveman times, he meets a woman and he falls in love.
Aw.
And then I think, what's the name of the evil Kang who's not Kang?
Knievel.
Look that up. Oh, Immortus.
Immortus?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Immortus is also Kang, but a worse version, I guess. So he goes back in time, and then Immortus, I think, is training him, or a different version of Kang. And then he sees that Kang falls in love. So I think Immortus like kills her, or Immortus sends him, Kang, into the future, and he's like, "Fuck you, dude." And then a lot of the storyline that I haven't finished yet is that this woman keeps popping up, and he's like, "What are you doing here?" And she's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "It's Kang, remember?" I have that machine. I've got a huge forehead, and she's like, "I'd remember that."
Yeah, I would definitely recognize you.
Like, that's pretty big, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, so in the Kang Dynasty, hates women. He says that Scarlet Centurion, for some reason, is really into Captain Marvel. And Captain Marvel is like, I know you. I think Captain Marvel goes, Marcus? And he's like, what? So I think I haven't gotten to that part. It's not even Captain Marvel, it's Warbird, but it's Carol Danvers.
Okay.
It's like there's like this love thing. And then Kang walks in on Scarlet Centurion looking at pictures of her. And he's like, stop. Anyway, I don't want to finish the storyline. I think we've got enough for a video.
Yeah, probably. We really
How
went
does
off
that
the rails
sound?
there. Yeah.
Sounds bad, right?
A little bit.
What
a little
sounds
weird.
Yeah. What was your favorite part, though, of the story I told you that I don't like?
I don't know. I really appreciated the
pillow.
The pillow was dope. The three
Hanks?
Yeah. That was not what I expected.
Yeah, what was that?
All this stuff's happening over here, and then Hank's just like having his own little thing.
I literally stopped reading it because I'm like, did I click on the wrong thing? Because they don't even mention Kang in this. Like, maybe at the end. But up until like
it's just thrown in, like, it's during the Kang Dynasty era. And
yeah, I was reading in
comic
Marvel Unlimited. It's like they'll put together the reading order for the events.
Oh, okay.
One of the events is the Kang Dynasty, and so in this one it's like Avengers from 1998. It's like Avengers 40 through 55 or whatever.
Okay.
That's not accurate, but it's something like that. But sometimes if there's like a side story, if there's like a Deadpool story, it'll be like Deadpool 47. It'll be like thrown in there. And so I thought, like, I don't know what it was, but it was bad. And at one point, Janet Van Dyne, they go to the cult because they're like, we don't know what to do. And then this guy named Triathlon, he's A-Train from The Boys. He used to be he was an Olympic runner who somehow lost his abilities to run. So this cult leader made him really fast, so he owes him. He's like, hey, why don't we go ask this guy to put the Hanks together?
Just because he's fast? Or is he the one?
No, the cult leader's not fast.
He's telling the cult leader.
The fast guy
is telling them about the cult leader.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were saying the cult leader was like, let's go get this fast dude.
He's so fast. You gotta see it.
Yeah.
They're like, not the time, dude. And they even say, they're like, Jane Foster's like, I don't know what to do. And then she says something like, we can't even reach the best minds like Reed Richards and Hank McCoy, who's the best geneticist in the world, and even he can't turn himself back into being a human. And I'm like, yeah.
Come on, beast.
They don't say all that. She cuts off because I think she knows she's about to say something mean.
Oh.
Yeah. What a shit book.
What if in the end they're gonna find 3 Kangs and they're gonna morph into 1 Kang and then everything's just all good? They're like, oh, he's a happy dude now.
They throw in a cult leader.
Yeah.
That's who Henry Cavill's playing, the triune understanding man.
Yeah. I think that's exactly how they're planning everything.
There's also 2 Secret Warses, one from like around the time of the Kang Dynasty, one from 2016, I think.
Okay.
One of them is much better than the other.
Is
One
it
of them,
the 2016 one?
one of them is literally just the Beyonder suddenly teleports a bunch of heroes and a bunch of villains and says, "Now fight."
Is that the 2016 one?
No.
Oh.
Does that sound good to you?
Kind of.
Doesn't sound bad.
That's
but
an
like,
Avengers Assemble, kind of.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's the storyline where Spider-Man gets his black suit, the symbiote.
Okay.
But that's not really a movie there though.
No.
But
Because
we'll talk
to
about
introduce the
both
Beyond.
Secret Warses and the rest of the Kang Dynasty in the next video. Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of a word that rhymes with listening that I could call my fans. Thanks for listening, glistening.
Y'all are all glistening.
All right. I don't wanna end this. Having so much fun.
Well, I mean, we can do another video.